Hello, gamers! Welcome to Games and Feelings, an advice show about playing games, being human, and dealing with the fact that those games will involve other humans. I'm your host and question keeper, Eric Silver, and the game show that I think I would do great at is Press Your Luck, which is kind of just like the one where people go, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, stop. And I think I would look pretty good saying no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, stop. Permanent guest Jasper Cartwright, what game show do you think you would do well at?
I think, The Wall. Definitely The Wall. Have you heard of The Wall? Did you have that over there?
Oh, produced by LeBron James? Absolutely.
Is it produced by LeBron James? I had no idea. That's hilarious. I've never watched it.
Oh, because you didn't get the marketing for it because people in the UK would care less.
Yes.
So yeah, the whole thing about it was that LeBron produced it.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I just think I'd be pretty good at like twisting myself into a shape.
Is that the one where you're trying to get your body in a certain pose and then fit through a hole in a wall?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, there is a different The Wall produced by LeBron James, which is totally different. I will say to you.
Okay, what's that? What do you have to do with that one?
Oh God, I forgot. It's one of those things that just goes in your brain and disappears. It was like there was a big Plinko ball involved, and then trivia and stuff. I'll send it to you afterwards.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
I like yours better. How you contorting it?
Yeah, so it's basically just like you see the wall coming. There's like a shape cut out of it, and you have to like put yourself in a funny pose. Sometimes with like a partner or whatever. You know, you have to do it together, and you might need to help each other. And you basically not get knocked like into the water or whatever by the wall.
Incredible. Hey, Jenna Stoeber.
Hi.
What game show do you think you would do great at?
I think I'd be good at Jeopardy because I'm a legacy. My grandma won on Jeopardy once many decades ago.
Whoa, mic drop. Heck yes.
So I feel like it's in my blood, right?
Yes,
to be good at
it is.
Jeopardy.
It is.
Was your grandma like training you from day one? She gives you a fake buzzer and be like, you can't buzz in too early or then Mr. Trebek will just knock it out.
No, it's more of a passive training where she would be like, see this vase? I got it from winning Jeopardy. It was just back when like the thing that you won on Jeopardy was like a furniture set, like a living room set.
That's so cool.
Instead of just hard cash. Yeah.
I love that.
That's incredible. Now I want to go find it and take a screenshot from that image and then just like and put it next to you holding like a buzzer near you.
She had the VHS. We would watch it sometimes when I was over there. Her glory days on Jeopardy.
I love
wow.
I don't know what happened to that though. I hope one of my relatives has it.
That's fair. Jenna, I didn't realize that the opposite of training you was just flexing on you perpetually.
Yeah. To really get me, that's what the eye of the tiger is. You look in the eye of the tiger and think, man, I want to be a tiger.
Man, that tiger's so cool. I wish I had that vase like that tiger.
Yeah.
Tigers be so cool.
Incredible. Jenna, thank you so much for coming on Games and Feelings. I'm so happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here to talk about games and feelings, two of my favorite things.
That's true. You love, my understanding is that you love both games and feelings. Is that correct?
I do.
It's true. Jenna, if people don't know who you are, where would people know you from the internet / what are you doing now?
They probably knew me formerly from Polygon. I'm now an independent creator, so I've got all the things an independent creator has, which is a TikTok and a YouTube, 2 YouTube channels actually. I'm also on Twitch at _Jenna. I'm on Twitter, in so much as Twitter is still extant. But mostly I'm still doing video essays on YouTube, so you can find me there, and you should subscribe and like all my videos.
Yeah,
Hell
do that.
Yeah.
Jenna, did I ever tell you that I actually based like what you used to do as in your master's degree on a character that I wrote into an audio drama?
I think you have mentioned that actually, weirdly. I think you have, yeah, because my master's degree is in media and culture, which is why I'm so good at making videos about media and culture.
Is your like thesis on horror movies, or did I make that up?
It was, yeah. My specialty was video game communities and horror culture.
Amazing.
Yeah. I always thought that was so sick, and I loved the horror movie videos that you did at Polygon.
Yeah.
And I just like, you know what? That's really cool. I like the idea that someone did their master's degree in horror, and this is me taking your life and processing it into something else. Being like, I love the idea that someone would do this and may do a master's in horror movies, and I just put it in an audio drama character. So thank you for your interesting life and for allowing me to turn it into art a little bit.
Thank you for being interesting, Jenna.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. And you're so interesting that you're absolutely qualified to answer some advice questions, which we're going to do on this episode.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to do our segment that we always do, which is games that are giving us feelings. As we talk about games that we're currently playing, that doesn't have to come out anytime soon. You can play games for various reasons. And the feelings that you're getting, and we're going to assign an adjective to it, like LiveJournal. You remember LiveJournal? The 20-year-old listening to this podcast? I'm sure you do. Jenna, as our guest, do you have a game that is giving you feelings? And what is the feeling it's giving you?
So I just finished Hi-Fi Rush, which everybody has been losing their absolute minds over. Have y'all played Hi-Fi Rush yet?
Yes, I played all the way through. I started playing like the end game stuff as well. And I think I mentioned on here just to say that like I love the way that a media expresses like one medium expressing a different medium. Like Scott Pilgrim was a movie expressing music and video games, and this is a video game expressing music. I thought that was really fun. Yeah, how are you loving Hi-Fi? How are you feeling about Hi-Fi Rush?
See, you assumed that I loved it, and that was your big mistake. I did. There's a lot I loved about it, but I think that my LiveJournal feeling is, I think, mainly conflicted. Because aesthetically, the game is so primo. And the way that it implements the rhythm elements and the beat elements and just so many parts of it visually, like all of the trees and everything bumping along to the beat so that you keep the beat with it, is so satisfying. And I think the level design is incredible. And it's such a game. It's such like a game-ass game, which I really love.
It's a whole ass game. I love it.
It's a whole, like, you're like, wow, this is a game. This is video games. But in the actual playing of it, I found the movement tech to be really unsatisfying. And so that made it, just as from like a pure gameplay standpoint, I found it really frustrating because like you have like the dash, and if you hit the dash timely and 3 times in a row, you get like a little bit of a boost, but then there's like this reset animation. So you can't really string together dashes in an endless way. And so I felt like every time I was getting any sort of momentum, the game forced me to reset to the beat. And that was really frustrating for me.
Yeah, I remember doing those strings of dashes, but I never did it in a fight. I always did it while I was running, but it felt like I was just like keeping time, like I was an ambient drummer. Like I was just doing like the triplicates of like 1, 2, 3, rest, 1, 2, 3, rest.
Yeah.
But that's not, I was just being like, there, because the main character runs on beat. So he's so slow unless you dash.
Yeah, he walks on beat.
He walks
notably.
on beat,
There is no run. And that was also so infuriating for me. Is it just like, the game really wants to enable you to act on the beat, but it also restricts you to acting on the beat.
Whoa.
It's like that's the double-edged sword. It's like, well, you don't have to hit the beat. You get bonuses if you're on beat. But therefore, all of your actions are on beat, regardless of what your button presses are.
Yeah.
Which is complicated.
Yeah. And I really liked the combat. I thought the combat was really satisfying. But then so much of the game is platforming and walking and jumping. And that didn't satisfy me very much. So conflicted.
Jenna, when you play RPGs, are you a run out of the way kind of person? Or are you a parry and block person? Because in Hi-Fi Rush, they make it essential to know how to parry on beat. And Jasper, fucking hard as hell. So like I'm a dash out of the like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. I'm a roll out of the way person. I don't give a shit about parrying.
No, I hate parrying. It does my head in, and I can never time it right.
So like that was really difficult for you.
Yeah, that was another thing that I thought was really interesting, because the part of the pitch of the game is that they wanted to make a rhythm game where you didn't have to have good rhythm, which I think is funny and good. I think it's a good concept. But then, just kidding. There are these mandatory parry sections where actually you do need to have really good rhythm.
I kind of feel like I could see how that like meeting went, where they're like, okay, so we're gonna make a rhythm game where you don't need to have good rhythm, and then they all sat there for half an hour and went, okay, it's not really possible. So like, let's just make a cool rhythm game and hope nobody notices, because like that does seem like a really flawed concept. As someone with bad rhythm, I'm very tempted to try this game out, to really stress test this game, because let me tell you, my rhythm isn't great. Like I can dance, but like when it comes to like playing an instrument or whatever, I got poof.
Well, I think you'd still be able to crush Hi-Fi Rush, because it is well designed so that you can still be good at the game even if you're not good at rhythm. So to answer your question, no, Eric, I'm a dodge baby. I like to do little dashes and rolls, and I like to maneuver around the battlefield. And I mean, the game does give you like I made a lot of use of the grappling hook that lets you grapple and get close to enemies.
Love that, yeah.
And so I was just always bouncing around the battlefield, bopping people and then disappearing before they could hit me. But then it grinds to a halt to do these parry sections, and that was infuriating.
Yeah. The only time that I really liked it was when you're fighting a boss, because the boss mechanics I think are really interesting in the way that like in a tabletop RPG setting, you can do interesting stuff. It's not just like kill boss. It's like a contest or something.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of the base battle in Scott Pilgrim, where it's like doing a rhythm section back and forth at each other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. It's like, oh yeah, doing a rhythm game allows you to do a different type of boss battle. But like, again, I was just like, fuck, I also have bad rhythm. And I'm doing so badly at this.
I think my experience was also tainted by the fact that I was streaming the game.
Oh my God.
So I had to use the DRM free audio. So I didn't play it with the original audio that they chose for it. I played it with the streaming audio.
Wild.
And yeah, and the original soundtrack that they have absolutely slaps. It's very good. But I think there are some portions of it that didn't quite line up. But I say that, and maybe I was just bad at the game.
That's okay. I can't believe you did it on stream, and I watched you on stream do it as well, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Jenna is opening herself up to people saying, oh, she's bad at games and has no rhythm. Jesus Christ, no.
Well, here's the thing is I am good at games. I beat 5 of the 6 bosses on the first try in that game, and that is hard for any game, but for this game in particular, because they throw new mechanics at you mid-boss battle frequently, it was a pretty stellar run. It was the second to last boss I did not successfully beat on the first try, which was so devastating.
That's awesome. I mean, Jenna, incredible. Jenna, you're a cool gamer girl, and we know it.
I know.
Congratulations. Your certificate will be in the mail. It will be there within 5 to 7 business days. Incredible. Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, very nice and conflicted. I assume you're like making like a thinking face and also grimacing a little bit.
Yeah, well, if we're doing live journal, I probably had like, when I had a live journal, I had like custom emotes for all the, do you remember how you could just download like emotion packs for all the feelings? Mm-hmm. So I probably would have had like a Sandman themed emoji.
I know it's probably one of the characters, but I'm now imagining it's Neil Gaiman making all the faces, like a cartoon Neil Gaiman.
Honestly, could have been. Yeah, that would have been amazing. I would have downloaded that.
Hell yeah, incredible. Jasper, what's a game that's given you feelings, my man?
The game that has given me feelings is Thirsty Sword Lesbians by Evil Hat Productions. We played it on Three Black Halflings last night. It was my first time properly playing a Powered by the Apocalypse like game system, and first time with Thirsty Sword Lesbians, and it was kick-ass. It was so cool. It was a lot of fun, and like I've been a big fan of like Monster Hearts, and so really wanted to play a Powered by the Apocalypse game, and was just kind of really fascinated by playing a game that has like actual emotional and social mechanics. Because it's something that I've railed against, like, you know, other TTRPGs for not having kind of appropriate social and emotional mechanics. So it kind of requires a lot of heavy lifting on the part of the player.
Sorry, charm person isn't good enough for you?
You know what? It's just that it's trash. Like just that is like it's not enough. So yeah, it's trash. And it's the sole reason why typically like actors or performers or very kind of naturally like high charisma people tend to play those games because they are capable of doing that kind of heavy lifting without thinking. And I think it was really fun to play a game that very much like held you in that. And I feel like we're able to like hit emotional notes and things whilst playing that game like very, very easily and very quickly without it feeling disingenuous so yeah, I had a fantastic time playing that game. It's so much fun. The mechanics like made for just such a hilarious game, and like the whole thing just I think it's a great listen, and I'm very excited for people to hear it. So Thirsty Sword Lesbians, props to Evil Hat Games. It's awesome. It's making me feel fantastic. It did. Like I kind of felt like just afterwards, I just felt kind of like really like I just wanted to like run around a little bit. Like, yeah, this was fun. You know what I mean? I felt like someone had come over and like stroked my mental health. And just been like, hey, you're okay, you're good. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what I needed. That was lovely. I had a great time with my friends talking about my emotions.
Shh, it's okay. You're petting you like a horse.
Yeah, literally. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it is.
What a great pitch for a game.
Incredible. Yeah, you can just buy Thirsty Sword Lesbians anywhere. You can pick this stuff up. I also did not know it was from Evil Hat specifically, which is awesome. Yeah. Evil Hat has been making such interesting stuff lately, especially me combing over Monster of the Week stuff for what we did on Join the Party. I'm really excited about the new expansion for Monster of the Week, which they're coming out with, which has team moves now, which is really cool. And I'm just super fucking stoked about that. Listen, there's 147 books in stock, and I assume all the listeners are going to buy all of that. So y'all better fucking get on that.
Get on it. Eric, what game's giving you feelings?
Oh shit, you hosted me back.
Look, see, I'm getting it. Look, you know what I mean?
I love it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm here, I'm doing it.
My emotion, I'm going to start with my adjective first. I am resigned because, listen, I'm going to see the Super Mario movie as soon as it comes out.
I fucking got you.
Listen, man, there's something I think about the fact that Illumination is making it, which are the Minions folks, and that it's not like Disney or something else. Like, I'm not saying that Illumination isn't like a very large company as a part of it, but I feel like it's like, yeah, it's just out there. Why not? I'm just going to do it. It looks so cool. They're doing a Nintendo Direct specifically for the final trailer of it, and I hate that.
Oh,
like, it's like, I would love Mario Odyssey 2. I want that. I want that so bad. But you know what I want just as much? To watch this fucking movie.
In a good way or in like a hate watch
No,
way?
in a good way. I think it looks really fun. Okay. I don't care about all of the fan service. I think that there's actually like deep cuts they can put in, especially like as comparing the D&D movie as compared to the Mario movie. Like, they put out that trailer during the Super Bowl. I don't know if y'all saw that, because Jasper, you don't live in the country where people give a shit about the Super Bowl. And Jenna, I don't know about your football predilections.
Number one football fan in the world. I love that old hand egg game.
Yes, thank you for calling it by its appropriate name, hand egg, and not football, because it's not football. Points to you, Jenna. Carry on, Eric.
Man, sports ball would have been so much better if it was hand egg. Like Chris Hardwick just saying hand egg instead. That would have been.
Pass me the hand egg.
And he's handed off the hand egg.
You know what's wild? In Irish style rugby, it is called the hand egg. So that's actually pretty interesting.
Is it? It's not. Oh, okay. Okay. You fucking got me. See, that's how little I know about football. Oh, no.
As the number one fan, I feel like you should probably know more about it. That seems,
I'm more of an emotive fan.
That's fine. That's the majority of being a fan, Jenna.
Yeah.
You're totally on the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Facts? Data? Yeah. No.
Jenna, I'll teach you how to scream about the Knicks at some point. It'll be fine. Okay. So yeah, so they released this like commercial, which was like a plumbing commercial for the Mario Bros. And like it was really interesting. It had like a lot of like Nintendo and older lore in it, which is like from games from like the 1980s and from the Mario Super Show. Like the song was really similar to the one from the Mario Super Show. And I'm like, All right, you know what? That's cool. I like it. I like that you're giving it to me. Like, Rainbow Road looks cool. All the Mario Kart stuff looks cool. There was like a world from Odyssey that was flashed really quickly, like the desert level that was on there. I'm like, it just looks nice. And I just like the idea that they're just kind of putting it out, and maybe it's like the Nintendo magic is sprinkled on it, where people aren't. Like the American need of companies to shove something in your face and be like, you love this, right? You love it? And maybe like Nintendo is just being like not doing that, and I kind of like that. But like I am going to see the movie. I'm just like, I'm resigned of how much I'm going to love it.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I would love it if it was Pratless. Like, I think if it was Pratless, I'd be like really involved. But like, I'm just kind of like, yeah, this guy, I mean...
I don't like him.
No, I like about it.
Yeah, there's something about the cut of his jib, which I just, I'm like, I don't know if I trust you. You just seem kind of not good.
Yeah, he's not.
It's definitely from his church affiliation. That's the reason. That's the reason why.
100.
I 100% agree. I don't like Chris Pratt. I don't like all the shit he stands for, and his Mario is stupid. And I also think that Anya Taylor-Joy makes Princess Peach just sound like a regular human woman. But like all the other casting is fucking awesome. So it's like, I don't know.
Jack Black primo.
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't seen any of the other casting, to be fair. But the thing is, what I'm annoyed at is the fact that we got what's probably going to be the best Mario movie of the year from SNL. This
I haven't
you
seen
need
that
to
yet.
watch
I
the
keep
sketch
meaning
with
to.
Pedro Pascal. It's me, Mario. It's incredible. It is so damn funny. And I was like, this I could see. This I would 100% pay my money right now to go and watch this. This is incredible.
Truly Pedro Pascal for every single role. He's so talented. It's crazy.
I saw the funniest thing. Someone screenshotted what I genuinely thought was like a real news article for a split second, and it said science reveals that by 2040 all TV shows will involve Pedro Pascal escorting a magical baby somewhere. And then it just had a picture of The Mandalorian and Last of Us, and I was like, that's incredible. That also, I'm fine with it. Like, let's just have that be the plot of everything. That's fine.
What a niche.
What a niche.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Eric, and I picked up some snacks for Games and Feelings. I got you a pizza that I found on the street. It replenishes 20 HP, and there were a bunch of turtles around it. I'm sure that's fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. Ordinarily, this is where I tell you to subscribe to the Patreon, which you should still do at patreon.com/gamesandfeelings. But really, I want you to recommend this show to a friend. The best way to grow a podcast is through word of mouth. And, if you're enjoying this, if you like the balance of comedy and actual giving of advice, you want someone to talk intelligently, or at least kind of knowledgeably about games, you like Jasper, you like the weekly setup, just tell people about the show. Please, we would love the show to keep growing, and we need the Games and Feelings folks to make that happen. Shout out, as always, to producer-level patrons Polly Burge, Kelsey Duffy, and Megan Moon, who are much better than us at Mario Kart, but aren't weird about it at all, and you still make it fun. Thank you. Patreon.com/gamesandfeelings. Tell people about the show. You should also check out the other shows that are part of the Multitude Collective, but today I want to tell you about something else that's exciting. It's new Multitude merch. We finally have a t-shirt and a sweatshirt. You can grab a Multitude logo tee or a crewneck sweatshirt now in our DFTBA store. More merch is on the way, so stay tuned for updates. And as always, all multi-crew members of the $10 tier and up get 10% off all Multitude merch. Are you Team T or Team Crewneck? Tag at Multitude Shows on socials once you have your merch so we can settle this debate once and for all, and of course, feature you in communications to come. Just go to our website, multitude.productions, click on the merch button, and check it out today. We are also sponsored this week by Hero Forge. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. Here's how I can show you how deep their creator is. I'm going to list all of the different colors that you can make your hair. We got Platinum Witch, Old Salt, Wizard Gray, Wolfpack Gray, Lone Beast Brown, Hermit Gray, Butterscotch Blonde, Maple Blonde, Corn Syrup Blonde, Blonde Wheat, cashew brunette, Dijon brunette, pecan brunette, almond brunette, walnut brunette, chestnut brunette, shiitake brunette, sauteed mushroom brunette, black truffle brunette, truffle black, salt and pepper, charcoal ice cream, burgundy, baharat red, paprika red, red saffron, rosé, merlot, purple cabbage, and eggplant. And then there's the dyed ones, the colored ones, which are tomato, orange, mandarin, banana, lemon, nub fruit, which is like an orange and green, lime, apple, watermelon rind, blueberry, rubus laecodermis, I don't know what that is. It's like a blue-purple, grape, plum, boysenberry, raspberry, dragon fruit inside of a watermelon, passion fruit, expensive blue-dyed plantain, mint, nectarine, and peach. Woo! Visit HeroForge.com to start designing your custom miniature today and check back often. New content is added every week. And now, back to the games. All right, at the risk of us talking about Pedro Pascal for fucking ever, let's get to some questions, all right?
Yep.
I have a first one. Here, and this one is specifically to Jenna. It's from me, Eric Silver. So my fun name, who's writing in for this, is
the fun name I think should be number one Jenna fan.
Number one Jenna fan, number one hand egg fan.
Yeah, number one hand egg fan. Yeah.
It's wild that I predicted this while I was writing the letter.
Well, you're such a big fan. You know I call it hand egg. I don't know.
I've gone deep in your Polygon videos, and you referenced hand egg once, and I'm like, oh my god, I know it.
I'm in.
Yeah, you said it once on Awful Squad, and now I'm like, fuck, I'm in. Jenna, tell us about Pathfinder and why I need another combat-focused fantasy prescriptive tabletop RPG in my life.
I mean, my main pitch for Pathfinder is that it's better D&D, and better in so many different ways. It's sort of the middle ground. So if you're familiar with 3.5. Is the number of D&D that Pathfinder is based on. And the jump from 3.5 to 4.0 in D&D was sort of tragic and terrible. Because 4.0, they were like, D&D was like, oh man, this has gotten too complicated. There's so many skills. You need a special skill to use ropes? Oh no, we did a bad job. And so for 4.0, they tried to simplify things, but then they shifted the boat too far in the other direction and made it bad, and it was just too simplified. And Pathfinder really cuts the middle ground there between like the sort of excessive rules nature of 3.5 and the absurd simplicity of 4.0. So if you're looking for a D&D substitute, it's just better D&D. Although I like 5.0. I like the advantage disadvantage system that they instituted in D&D 5.0. But like Pathfinder itself is just like, it's streamlined, and since it came out, and since I started playing it when it came out, since then it's just expanded to have so many interesting different class varieties and ways of kind of customizing and creating little modules for your characters. And so if you're looking for a combat focused D&D game, Pathfinder is it. It's better than D&D. Just go for it. And you won't hardly notice the difference other than it's easier.
To that point, I would like to follow up with you and say, hey, you're on an actual play podcast called Burnt Cookbook Party, correct?
Yes, I am.
And what game system do you use for that?
Oh, we happen to use Pathfinder. Wow.
Interesting. I'm looking at the art of Burnt Cookbook Party, and it says it's a D&D podcast. Explain.
Oh, no. Fucking entrapment! I can't believe you.
That was officer. You have to say that you're an officer before you start asking me. Like, if I ask you whether you're a cop, you have to tell me.
Yeah, it's too late to plead the fifth. Well, Eric, here's the real reason. So I did make the logo for the show, and I did play around with Pathfinder. But here's the thing, and Eric, you fucking well know this. Jasper, you probably know this too. Is that if it's not a D&D podcast game, it's really hard to get listeners.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you'll notice that like a lot of the big D&D actual play shows start with D&D and then kind of expand out to other systems. And there's a fucking good reason for it. It's because it's really hard to brand a show as a D&D actual play RPG podcast if you're not doing D&D, because nobody knows what the fuck Pathfinder is.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like it's like the way that we've talked about it is it's like the largest majority of people like understand D&D. It's kind of a bit like English as like or Spanish as like everyone's second language. It's kind of like, but there isn't that second TTRPG, which is like any bigger than any other one, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of like amazing TTRPGs that don't quite have that pool, and people don't quite understand the language of it. Therefore, it's hard for people to listen to if they don't, you know what I mean? If they're not like committed to like, you know, figuring it out, which once you've got a listenership, you know, then you can switch. Right? Like what you were saying, Jenna, with like bigger shows kind of switching onto a different system, because then people are like, oh, I'm committed. I like these guys. So I don't mind spending a bit of time like familiarizing myself with new rules. But like, that's kind of the way I look at it. It's like, there's just not that like, I'd probably say is Pathfinder is like the biggest one, but like, it's still probably not like, people aren't Pathfinder literate enough. You know what I mean? For you to be like, I'm going to stake the whole thing on this, because, you know, it is just super hard to get people to come along and listen if they don't understand all the rules. And also Pathfinder has like mad customization. So I could definitely imagine it being like the first episode being like, whoa, wow, where are we going? Where are we doing? So, yeah.
Yeah. It has like built-in rules for customization too, which is like, it is actively enabling you to customize your game. But it's also so like, cool. I think the thing I like about actual play podcasts in general is that if you have this base language of D&D, then the mechanics can kind of fade into the background, and you can focus more on like the gameplay and the plot and the characterization and the jokes, the laughter. And so I think that's something I struggle with even with shows that started with D&D and transitioned to other systems, is that like the mechanics of the game suddenly become so prominent because you have to explain this whole other system of engaging with the world. And it's sort of like, I don't need to know all the details. Just roll them dice and then tell me what the result is and let's keep going.
And do cool things.
Yeah, stunts.
First of all, I just want to say, after everyone called me a cop on my own podcast, Jenna, I think it's fucking hilarious that the show that you play Pathfinder and you put it on, you say it's a D&D podcast. I think it's really funny, and I just wanted to give you the credit for the joke that it is. And I totally agree with you. As someone who loves games and coming up with game mechanics and like mushing Dungeons and Dragons and other types of games into being like, or adding other games into it and turning something into like, you know, how do you use a game or play to tell a story? I love doing it, but no one is as into game mechanics as I am, especially of our listeners. They just like want to hear us make jokes and tell stories and do all that fun stuff and funny voices. Yeah. So it's like, that's why so many shows devolve into incredibly rules light or flexible game systems, which is just about storytelling. And you know, no one wants to sit around and hear long form improv as a story. Like, I know that's like a form of podcast, but it's like at some point it's like, okay, we're at the end of the episode and then we're wiping the slate clean. Or it's like, you know, something like Hello from the Magic Tavern, where it's like, the joke is we're stuck in all the stupid decisions that we've been making the entire time.
Yeah. Burdened by their own canon.
Yeah. Exactly. So I totally get it. I think it's interesting about the push and pull of what actual play is supposed to do as it relates to the actual games we play, especially when we're playing another game, a D&D, and you know, I say this all the time, but you can see that the tabletop RPG medium has developed because the games are getting more and more specific, telling more and more specific types of stories. So if you don't want to play very specific stuff, like, for example, you don't want to be a thirsty sword lesbian or a monster hunter or a Bigfoot or teen Bigfoot that wants to turn people on, shout out to Monster Hearts 2, then like you want to play something that's like broad, which is where you get something like D&D or Pathfinder, and then you gotta like, am I gonna choose the thing that's more niche? Maybe not, even if it's better.
Yeah. I think there's room. I hope there's room for that kind of exploration. I hope there are shows out there doing like a new show every week, or every 3 months they switch to a different kind of game. That would be a cool concept for a game. But it's also like, It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work onboarding your audience to that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the assumption has to be going into it, like, I'm going to teach you a new game, or you're friends at the table and you're like, just follow me, man.
Yeah.
Just follow
just
me,
keep
whatever
track.
I'm doing.
Come along with me, yeah.
It's like, we are going to spend a lot of time talking about Lancer, and you are not going to understand anything about Lancer, but you're just follow it. Incredible. Okay, thank you, Jenna. I did not mean to put you on the spot like that, but I
No,
think
it's
I think it's important. And also, hey, do you guys have any drugs? If you have any drugs, just let me know. I'm fine. I'm a cool guy. You know.
Yeah, sure. I can probably go to the supermarket and get you some paracetamol if that's what you need. Like, are you in pain?
Oh yeah, no. How about street drugs, Jasper?
Street drugs.
Name one street drug.
Yeah. Name me the street drug that you want, and I'll see what I have.
Oh, like Kinder eggs. I can't get those in the United States.
Well, guess what? I'm a cop, Eric. Kinder eggs
No,
are illegal in
shit.
America. So.
Oh my god! I run
Gotcha.
away with my trench coat full of Kinder eggs. No!
He's getting away with the hand eggs. No.
All right, this is very funny.
Okay.
All right, let's go right into a question from a real person who's not me, shall we?
Yeah.
Please.
Well, we're just talking about game mechanics, so I think that we should touch on this question from someone who wrote in, and their name is Punch Me.
Whoa, that's an energy. That's a whole
Yeah.
energy. Okay.
I am playing a barbarian in our game's Dungeons and Dragons
That makes
game.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Piecing it together.
Mm-hmm.
In D&D, we're still pretty low level, and once my companions have used up their abilities in the first round or two, I'm pretty much the only person who can do damage or take a hit. So I'm raging a lot. And I gotta stay in rage, and they transition to support or trying to accomplish something else while I am tanking. The question asker wrote this in, and I think this is really helpful. The rage mechanic, as you might know, sorry, I'm editorializing. They're being really helpful. Hold on. The rage mechanic requires that I take or deal damage each turn so I don't get hit. Sometimes I'll ask my companions to punch me.
Sure.
Our DM hates this, but it works. And so far, he lets us get away with it. But we derail to justify it every time. Our justification basically revolves around me still taking damage and a party member using their major action on their turn. The DM still doesn't like this, but like I said, lets us do it. Where do you fall on this? What's your argument for either way?
I mean, this is the struggle, right? Is that if the mechanics of the game let you do it, and it sounds like this is all above board mechanically, then
It is.
Arguably it's fine. But then on the other hand, D&D is not just a game about mechanics. It's a social game where you are playing with people. So if your DM hates it, then maybe it's not a great thing to do. But on the other hand, on the third hand, which is where I'm at now.
Whoa, Jenna's got three hands. Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
I took the shapeshifter barbarian class, so I've got
Nice.
a third limb here.
Nice.
On the third hand, if your DM doesn't like it, they have the power to find a way to stop it mechanically. And
Yep.
so, right, like if they hate it enough, then they can just say that don't do that anymore. Find a new strategy. And I mean, I appreciate, especially in longer term games, which just kind of sounds like it is going to be. From a DM standpoint, sometimes it just gets boring. You
Yeah.
do the same exact thing in combat every time.
Definitely. I think, I'm definitely with you, Jenna. I think you outlined the different hands very well. And because I think that, first of all, yes, technically it's absolutely above board. I personally don't have a problem with it in game because the barbarian's taking damage. It's sacrificing an action of another player, and narratively it kind of makes sense. I completely buy the idea that a very angry person gets more angry when their friends punch them in the face. So you know what I mean? I buy that. That's fine. So. That's where I would rule as a DM, but I completely agree with you in the sense that if you're a DM who doesn't like something, then you could come up with a solution. My advice really here would be for the DM. Hey, look, if you don't like it, offer them an alternate, more narratively satisfying option. Because I think DMs are very quick to be like, oh, I really hate this. This is really bugging me. But not kind of thinking of a way to overcome the problem which will be narratively satisfying for players. If the players are doing something that's annoying you, it's probably because the players really enjoy doing it. Like the players are probably having a great time being like, yeah, punch me, and then he gets punched, and then he runs over and punches someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that like they're clearly having a fun time doing that. So like, why don't you find a narrative? Like, why don't you say to the barbarian, hey, I've got a list here of things that you can do instead of taking damage. I'm going to change the mechanic. Instead of taking damage or dealing damage, you can use any of these things to keep yourself in a rage. You know what I mean? Like, give them a little list of like other options that they could do to keep themselves in a rage, which could be super stupid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it could be like really funny stuff. Just like, you have to plank for the entire round or something. Like, you know, it can be anything you want, but just something that will like spice it up a little bit for you as the DM to make your player do some funny stuff, and they'll probably also really enjoy it because it will keep them in a rage. So that'd be my suggestion.
That's such an interesting strategy for like this thing that is clearly a point of conflict, turning that conflict into like a fun new mechanic or a fun new strategy for the player. That's so smart. I love that.
I really like that. Honestly, I feel like that's being achieved by people using their action to keep them in a rage and punch them.
Yep.
I honestly think that that's really cool. I think that if they used their attack and they actually had to attack regularly, that could be something that is important. It's like, as a barbarian, if you're in a rage, you can't put your defense down. So I don't think you would allow even your friend to, because you were in a frenzy, to hit you without being okay with it, without like changing your AC, quote unquote. So I feel like you got to do the attacks to do it. So you might accidentally crit on your friend, which is very funny. You might miss, which I think is funny. So you could also like make them expend a rage token for it to keep it going while it's going. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and it says that a rage only lasts for 1 minute. Yeah, and I know that that's 10 rounds in combat. Yep. But I still think that, like, that's not a lot of time, especially, like me, you think initiative is stupid, and you might want to, like, extend a fight over an action sequence over more than a minute. Yeah. Maybe it's like, all right, well, your rage goes away because you've been standing around doing something for a minute, and then you got to turn it back on. Like, I wonder about this specific situation where it's like, I'm an initiative, no one has hurt me, but I want to keep my rage going. Like, that feels so narrow to me. I feel like what you're saying, Jasper, is like, change the... Like, I don't even think you need to come up with new mechanics. I just think you need to reframe what these action sequences are in terms of time. Because if we're using the letter of the law, you should use the letter of the law in terms of keeping the stuff going and how long the stuff goes for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they, the game wouldn't call it a frenzy if your friends couldn't help.
Yes. Jenna's won Games and Feelings, everyone. The podcast is finished now. This is going to be the last episode. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Now I know Jenna's a cop because she has an earpiece where someone's feeding sick lines to her. Shit, that was really good. In other games, I and maybe you feel this way about Pathfinder too, because again, it's more of a combat-focused thing. But I feel like in other tabletop RPGs, I don't want to find loopholes because, like, what's the point of, like, in Monster of the Week, let's say, what's the point of rolling something and getting +6 when you like stack all your shit on top of each other when you're trying to get experience, when you get experience when you fail? Like, are there other times that you do or do not want to use loopholes outside of Dungeons and Dragons?
I think I use loopholes all the time. I think I love it because I feel like we always describe this on Three Black Halflings as the hey DM moment. It's like the moment where you get to go like, hey DM, like, you don't get to do that because I got this. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like that moment. And I think that, like, for me, it adds a fun element as a DM when my player comes up with something that I'm like, will you do what? Like, oh, that's clever. Like, that's where, like, I feel like I'm having fun as a DM because I'm like, oh, that was good. Okay, you got me. I done got, and I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm personally in favor of loopholes and finding them. I think it adds, like, a fun little competitive, almost like a little competitive edge to a game, which I think, especially in, like, a long-standing game, isn't the worst thing. Because, like, I play very, like, RP-heavy games. It's not hugely combat-focused. So, like, I quite enjoy a little break from that to be a bit like, whoa, okay, we're gonna put a bag of holding inside of a movable hole, whatever it is, and then everything's gonna blow up, and it's gonna be loads of, I'm like, yeah, cool, let's do it. Why not? Like, let's bust out a calculator for this session and see how much damage you do.
I feel like there's a difference between loopholes, which I like, which you're describing, and exploits. And loopholes I love, like things that are like a spontaneous understanding of the rules and your abilities to the extent that you can just do this loop-de-loop. Because that's kind of finding those tension points in the mechanics is part, I think, the joy of it is like, how do I use this magic spell that does this really specific thing in a unique way? I think that's so fun. But then I have also played games with people who are less into the RPG elements and more into the min-maxing.
Right. This is what I'm trying to say about Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. Min-maxing you only care about that in a combat-focused type of game.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was in a campaign once, and this sticks with me because it was so obnoxious, where one character had a bag of holding, one of the most exploitable items, I think, in D&D. And it just became the situation where every time we had to do a mission or a quest, it was about finding how to break it with the bag of holding. And it was sort of like, well, you can't breathe when you're in the bag of holding, but what if I put my whole body in the bag of holding and then my head is outside of the bag of holding?
Just
and then
stick my head out. Yeah, I'm with you.
That
That one sucks. I hate that one. I've had that one trying to be pulled on me before. I'm like, get a grip. Like, no. You're either in or you're out.
Right? It's just commit. Commit to the bag. Hold your breath. It's fine. So it gets to that thing where sometimes a loophole becomes an exploit, and it's just like, we're going to the bag of holding well again. All right, let's get another ladle full of this. It's just like obnoxious.
This is the reason why you can't give them a flying broom, because this will happen time and time and time again, and it's annoying. I'm with you. Yes, I think that's a very important distinction, Jenna.
There are so many items that were created by some dude in a basement in 1976. Like, that's what the immovable rod is like, fuck you, Gary. I'm doing this.
Fucking immovable rod.
I love an immovable rod. God. I'll defend that until the day I die. It's great.
Love it. Love it. I love the bag of holding too. I just, a time and a place.
I'm with 100%. Like stuff like that, I'm always like, okay, you can do this, but I'm going to spend the next week until our next session finding a way to punish you for this and punish you hard. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the bad guy's gonna get hold of it and he's gonna draw the string or something, and you're gonna be stuck in that bag of holding in a liminal space, and he's gonna find a way to cast like a way to you to hold your breath, so you're just stuck in a liminal space between states of being for the rest of your life. And that's on you, not on me.
When you're faced with an immovable rod, you must become the unstoppable water.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Incredible. Jenna's incredible. Like, these lines are unbelievable. Eric, we need to leave. We need to just let Jenna have the mic.
Yeah, that's fine. Jenna's the new host of Games and Feelings.
Cool.
Great.
Done.
I really love the idea of you doing shenanigans and then everyone hears about it and then starts doing it. I remember seeing, when I was teaching myself how to DM, I spent a lot of time on RD&D behind the screen. Like, there are some really nice subreddits out there of just like some fucking guys just talking about stuff. And like there was a DM who was like, oh yeah, my players figured out how to like firebomb people through like, they invented dynamite and then put it in like a bag of holding or threw it through like a portal, like a portal gun style portal, and then started dropping it on stuff. And it's like, I don't know what to do. It's kind of trivializing all my stuff. It's like, hey, if you do it enough, then the bad guys know how to do this too.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that would be really interesting. And I understand that it creates an arms race. But any type thing that any type of things that your players do, assume that your people are taking note if they're like heroes of note or like people of noteworthy within the land. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, and also just remember, as the DM, you'll always have a bigger gun. Like, so if it gets into an arms race, like your players can challenge you to an arms race if you want, but you're always going to have a bigger gun. So like, you know what I mean? If they want to throw that gauntlet down, let's go. Like, we can go there.
Can't believe you just created mutually assured destruction organically. It's wild.
But that's the thing, it's not mutual because the DM will win. Like, they control the whole universe.
True.
Like, there's
true.
no way the players win that fight. Like, give me
can't bomb
any
God.
players and I will win. Like, I will. Okay, it's 1,000 Tarasques. What are you gonna, like, do you know what I mean? Like, eventually, I'm going to win.
Or not only that, someone's gonna be like, okay, and now we're doing multiverses now, so we're going to a different multiverse where you didn't come up with any of this shit. Congratulations, it's a Marvel movie now. You did it.
Congratulations, there's xenomorphs here now. Good luck.
It's like, finally, I get to do my xenomorph impression. Good, I've regained the hosting energy by doing a xenomorph impression.
Yeah,
on
I
the
can't
microphone.
fight that, and I'm not willing to try.
Never.
Oh, Jenna, you don't want to because you're a cop? Okay, great.
Oh no!
Jenna's got quips and she's a cop. That's the two things we've
I'm
learned
too clever
today.
to be a cop. I'm sorry.
That's true. What if you're one of those super cops from Mindhunter? Is that good? Would you like that?
Maybe a I'll meet you at RoboCop. That's my best offer.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair. It's like you turn into your tabletop RPG game becomes like post-apocalyptic. It's like, great, now I'm RoboCop. It's what I wanted in the first place. Thank you for giving it to me.
I just want to have a VHS player in my chest.
I'll just let you do that. We didn't have to do the apocalypse in our game. You could
We
have
could have just
that.
done that. That's fine.
That's really more New Flesh than RoboCop. I regret it.
You could have just asked me instead of ruining our fun time together. That's why we have Games and Feelings. Oh my god. This has been so much fun, but unfortunately the VHS player in my chest is running out.
No.
Jenna, where can people find you on the internet of all the cool stuff that you are doing?
Oh my God. Just everywhere. I'm on Twitter. I'm either at the Jenna or _Jenna in every option possible. TikTok, Twitter. I also have an incredible, as you've heard, actual play Pathfinder podcast. It's just Pathfinder. I'm sorry. Pathfinder podcast called Burnt Cookbook Party. It's extremely fun and silly. It's a time loop story, and things are going really good, but also really bad in the story right now. So y'all should come and hang out. It's very fun.
Hell yeah. I also hang out in Jenna's Twitch chat, and it's fun.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good chat.
Hey, Jasper, where can people find you on the internet? What are you doing?
They can find me on the internet at JW_Cartwright on all of my social medias. I have 3 Black Halflings, which is a show you should listen to because apparently people will tell me it's good sometimes.
It's rules. It's so good.
Thank you. And I'm also doing a new podcast, which is coming out very soon. The next season is coming out and starting very soon, which is called the Performance Capture Podcast, which is all about being a performer in video games and the such, and using those funny little dots on your face to turn you into cool creatures and stuff like that. So if you've ever wondered how that happens, how the sausage or the hand egg gets made, as it were, then you can rock all over to that pod. It's super cool and fun, and we've got some great guests for this season. So that's me. Eric, where can people find more of your stuff? What are you up to?
Damn, now Jasper was the host.
Boom.
Fuck, shit.
Boom. Boom.
You can always find me on the internet at L_Silvero. That is EL_SALVERO. My name, if I was a Lucha Libre wrestler. I'm on Twitter and on Instagram for that. I have a new show out right now called Tell Me About It. Woo! Madcap Game Show, which is a combination of just a fun conversational podcast about the things you love and the most dangerous game. You know, that story where the billionaire hunts you. I'm doing it with Adel Rafai of Hey Riddle Riddle and Hello from the Magic Tavern.
Which is speaking of, I was just on Hey Riddle Riddle this week. I'm guesting on an upcoming episode, so look out for that. It's all crossing over. Me and Adel figured out that we were in the multitude multiverse, like live on the episode. It was very fun. So.
Let's go. Yeah, good. A plug for Multitude in the middle of that. Absolutely incredible. So yes, and Adel is incredible, and that is so much fun. And also, Join the Party is starting our 3rd campaign, which which is a pirate story set in the fantasy world of Vertistello with plant and bug people, which has been so much fun to do. Jenna, you should listen to that too. I think it's pretty good.
I've been listening to all of your lead up episodes because I'm really excited about it. And I love all the world building you're doing with your little cabbages with feet.
You have? Oh my god! Yeah, oh my god! I could talk to you about it all the time. I'll send you the vexology of all the flags.
I was also genuinely listening to tell me about it on the drive-in to my office today, so I'm just deep in the multitude.
Hell yeah, dude!
Cool.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and keep telling people about Games and Feelings. We love doing this show. We're doing it weekly. We have wonderful guests. Jasper is here as regularly as he is, and we're doing a live show at PAX East. Jenna's gonna be guesting on it. It's going to be tight as hell.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited.
So many plugs. You can also check out all the stuff in the episode description in the doobly-doo. But Jenna, Jasper, thank you so much for being here. This has been so much fun.
Eric, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a delight.
Thank you, us three hosts just together.
Us three hosts just hanging out hosting.
Yeah. And remember, the instruction manual doesn't have anything about feelings. But you have to stay on rhythm, which is hard. Games and Feelings is produced by Eric Silver and edited and mixed by Mischa Stanton. The theme music is Return to French Toast Castle by Jeff Bryce, and the art was created by Jessica Boyd. Find transcripts for this episode and all episodes at our website, gamesandfeelings.com. Until next time, press X to enjoy the podcast.